So, for the past month, I've been running this little experiment on myself. The idea was simple, at least on paper. Wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. I had to know, could this one little change really unlock some new level of focus, or is it all just hype? Well, here's what actually happened. And look, I need to be completely straight with you from the jump. This was not easy. That first week was just brutal. There was a point, I think it was day 7, where I was just so close to quitting. I was convinced the whole thing was a terrible idea. But what I discovered after I pushed through, well, it completely changed the way I think about discipline.
All right, so let's get into it. Why would I even do this to myself, right? Well, I'm guessing it's the same reason a lot of you are interested in this stuff. You see the articles, you hear the stories about all these super successful people, and there's this recurring theme, this promise that the early morning holds some kind of secret weapon.
The thing that really pulled me in was this whole idea of the 5 a.m. club. The core concept is pretty simple. Get up before the rest of the world and you get what they call a victory hour. It's this protected block of time. Totally quiet, no interruptions, just time to get yourself ready for the day before everyone else starts needing a piece of you. And there's even this specific formula for that hour, the 20-20-20 rule. So you do 20 minutes of intense exercise, get the blood pumping, then 20 minutes to reflect, so think journaling or meditation, and then the last 20 minutes are for growth, reading a book, learning something new. On paper, it sounded amazing, transformative even. So, yeah, I set my alarm.
And that's when reality crashed the party. That whole promise of a victory hour, yeah, that felt like a million miles away that first week. It wasn't victory. It was just pain. I mean, that first alarm goes off, it's pitch black outside. And my first thought isn't about elevating my life. Nope, it's about how warm my bed is. That little cocoon of blankets, it felt like the safest, best place in the entire universe. It was a legit internal battle just to not hit snooze. I had to tell myself, okay, your purpose in life is probably not just to stay in this bed. And even when I did manage to drag myself out of bed, that win didn't last long. I'd go through the motions in this total fog. I'd do the workout, have the coffee, but by lunchtime, I was just done, completely drained. So groggy, couldn't focus, just mentally spent. And I really started to think, am I actually making myself worse by doing this? Okay, so this is where things got interesting. I started to realize that maybe this wasn't just me being weak or lacking willpower. It felt deeper. It felt like I was literally fighting my own body. So I went looking for answers and started digging into the actual science of this stuff. And that's how I stumbled onto this idea of a chronotype, which is just a fancy word for your body's internal clock. It's literally hardwired into your genes. It decides if you're a natural morning person or a night person. And the key thing here is it's not a character flaw. It's not about being lazy. It's just your biology. So you've basically got 2 main types. You have the larks. These are your classic early birds. They feel great in the morning. That's maybe 10-15% of people. And then you have the owls, who are the total opposite. Their brains really fire up late at night. That's about 20% of us. And looking at this, a light bulb just went off in my head. I thought, oh, I'm an owl, and I'm trying to force myself to be a lark. And get this, there's actually a name for this. It's called social jet lag. It's that feeling you get when society's schedule, your job, your school, or, a 5 a.m. challenge, doesn't line up with your body's clock. You end up with all this sleep debt, you're constantly tired. I mean, it was a textbook description of my first week. It all started to make sense. So that really got me thinking, what's the actual damage here? I'm not just talking about feeling sleepy. What was this actually doing to my brain, like on a measurable level? And the answer I found was, it was pretty sobering. I came across this huge study, a meta-analysis actually, of 39 other studies. And it showed that not getting enough sleep has a major negative impact on your executive function. That's all the important stuff, planning, focusing, making decisions. The number they landed on was -0.62. In plain English, that's a pretty big hit to your brain's performance. And this chart breaks down exactly where that hit comes from. Look at that top one, working memory. It's like your brain's RAM. That takes a massive hit. Then you've got your ability to resist distractions and your ability to switch tasks. So that foggy, can't think straight feeling I had by noon, that wasn't me imagining things. That was real, measurable damage. But then, something funny happened. Right around the end of that first awful week,
things started to change. I mean, it wasn't easy yet, but the pain was duller. It felt like my body was slowly and very reluctantly getting on board. And that's when I found the real magic of this whole thing, something I didn't see coming at all. It was the silence, the absolute, total quiet. At that hour, my phone isn't buzzing. Emails aren't flooding in. Nothing is pinging for my attention. It was like, for the first time in forever, my focus was 100% mine. It belonged to me. And that's the real key. It's not just that I had more hours in the day, it's that the hours were better. They were high quality, deep focus hours. I'm telling you, the 2 hours of work I got done in the morning were more valuable than the 4 hours I used to waste at night just scrolling and getting distracted. It honestly felt like I had found a cheat code for the day.
And it turns out there's a biological reason I started to feel so good. My body was actually changing its hormone cycles. I found this one study showing that as you get used to waking up early, your body produces a 45% bigger spike of cortisol. That's the wake up and go hormone. And at the same time, your melatonin, the sleepy hormone, drops way faster. My body was basically learning how to brew its own coffee right when I woke up. So 30 days are up. The experiment's done. And I had to sit back and really think, what did I learn from all this? Is the 5 a.m. club the secret to success? Well, for me, the real takeaway was a little more nuanced than just yes or no. Here's what I really learned. 5 a.m. isn't magic. There's nothing special about that specific number. The idea behind it is solid, but the rule itself needs to be personal. The real goal isn't to hit a specific time on the clock. It's to build a routine that gets you enough high-quality sleep. And, most importantly, one that works with your own body instead of constantly fighting it. So this is what I do now. This is my new, smarter system. First, I don't have a hard wake-up time. I have a range. For me, that's somewhere between 5:15 and 5:45. It gives me a little grace. Second, and this is non-negotiable, I make sure I get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. If I don't, waking up early is pointless. And third, I started using one of those apps that tracks your sleep cycles and wakes you up when you're in your lightest stage of sleep. I'm not kidding. That alone has made getting out of bed so much easier. And that's really the big question this whole thing left me with, and maybe it's one for you too. Are you building your life around what your body actually needs, or are you just following somebody else's clock?